Hey, and welcome to a crafting video. Yes, it is the season for crafting, and you just know me. I had to come out with a crafting video. I like playing the game more than I like crafting, but when the getting's this good, my friends, you know, you got to dive in. You just got to dive in on this. I know you guys already know that Recombinators are producing some absolutely off-the-walls, insane, impossible combinations of items, ultra mirror tier stuff. Completely out of your reach, probably, if you're the average viewer. But what you may not be aware is that while the code has not been completely cracked on these, we are beginning to understand enough information. We're in something of a honeymoon phase right now, where the market is ripe for the taking, huge opportunities to make tons of currency crafting for profit, great opportunities to simply craft and upgrade easily and somewhat deterministically via Recombinator. I'm not talking about mirror tier stuff. I'm talking about low tier, mid tier, high tier upgrades. Take your pick. And I'm going to be referencing a particular Reddit post you may be familiar with that has sort of halfway cracked the code. Not everything has been figured out, so not everyone is investing all of their currency in crafting right now, and I have witnessed some pretty insane holes in the marketplace where I know I personally, if I set out to, could make an absolute killing on trade. Case in point, I'll just show you one example of something I could make an absolute killing on. Is, I don't know, a ring like this that cost about 20 chaos to make. Maybe 30 chaos on average. Look at this ring right here. This is a Vermilion ring with the Temple mod life and then Elrond's Veil. There is no ring in existence that gives this much life and this much reduction of mana cost of skill. It doesn't exist until this season, and it doesn't even exist on trade right now, which is absolutely blows my mind because it's super easy to find, super easy to get. The bases for these rings is like 5, maybe 10 chaos apiece, and in one recombination you have about a 30-40% chance of getting a ring exactly like this, or sorry, half of that to get the right base. But if you get the wrong base, who cares? You just do it again on the right base. So absolutely insane. That's just one tiny example of what you can do as far as the sort of low-end crafting side of things and the kind of profit that you could make. I estimate I could sell this ring right now for like 3x if I put that up on trade. Now, I'm not going to do that because it's not my cup of tea. I'm not out to make a huge profit on crafting. I'm actually just trying to craft personal upgrades. That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy crafting personal upgrades, and then I'll go ahead and sell the stuff I'm not using. Obviously, I may try to finish off the item in a way that somebody else would like it. But yeah, we're going to be crafting something like this today. If you're someone who enjoys the recombinating process, you just like seeing people doing stuff, well, take a look at this pre-dump tab because you're going to see a lot of recombinations here. This is actually nothing compared to what I've done this season. I've already recombinated something like 200 bows. I figured out a great deal of stuff on my own, and then the resource came out, so I kind of wasted a little bit of time learning and currency on that process. But in the end, I now know exactly how to craft a bow that I think would be excellent for some of you, especially if you're following my Soul Thirst sort of build that I've been doing. If you're on the low tier end of the budget, if you're on the higher tier end of the budget, doesn't really matter. Somewhere between Lionized Glare and Path of Math's Ultra Mirror tier bow lies a bow like this. It is almost, well, if this had higher tier rolls, which it doesn't, its rolls are not quite as high as I wanted to, but if it had higher tier rolls, this would be a 700 DPS physical DPS bow with +2 additional arrows, making it worth, well, I don't know. What is that worth? Here you are, 700 DPS +2 arrows. That's all I put in the parameters. 70 exalts. Oh, that almost looks like a price fix. I don't know, maybe 90, 100, who knows? There aren't that many on the marketplace, but rest assured, I've been keeping track of this specific market right here, and it's quite active. There are actually a lot of people buying these bows like this. Now, these right here are a little bit higher, but you can see it's still just 700 DPS with +2 bows. So it's not actually that much better. I think I can reproduce a bow that is just as good as this for a fraction of the cost. I estimate in a sort of resource that I have here. I have gone ahead and done a sort of printout on here. There is a lot to type because it's not nearly as deterministic as some traditional forms of crafting, but so it is necessary to type some extra stuff. But I have estimated that the minimum cost is roughly 10 exalts to craft this, and the more predictable likely cost is somewhere in the range of 30 exalts, give or take, maybe a little less. Yeah, so this is sort of like I think I said earlier, this is kind of the honeymoon phase of crafting. There really aren't that many people doing it. Craft of Exile as an emulator is a huge resource that people like to use before they start investing their own real currency into crafting. You can't do that right now because we're in that in-between phase when they haven't cracked the code completely, but there is a resource out there that is hugely beneficial by a content creator and well-trusted person in the crafting community named Diabetes King. Really don't know how to say that name, but he is extremely trusted. I trust him because of all the praise that the other major elite content creators have given him. And there's a wide variety of different bows, sort of ranges, different strategies you could go about making a bow. Some would cost more, some would cost less, some would be more deterministic, some would be less deterministic, more time consuming, less time consuming. I gave this a lot of thought, guys, and this is the kind of thing I arrived on. In fact, I gave it so much thought that I arrived on 2 separate tiers of bow. The sort of low to mid tier range and the sort of mid to high tier range. You know, being kind of subjective about it, depends on your categorization of low, mid, or high tier. And basically what that looks like is that is either going to be a bow like this one, if it was, I don't know, say all tier 1, or at least all tier 2, or basically the same thing except with +1 arrows and a merciless tier 1% damage roll instead of the hybrid with the accuracy roll. I'm going to showcase recombinating a ton of these, so you know, if you're here for the entertainment, sit back, relax. If you're here for the education, get your notepad out. This is going to be quite a ride. I have set these up nicely in the quad tab. Very anxious to go ahead and get these through. I've done a lot of bows already. I've sold almost all the bows that I've had that didn't quite hit the way I want to. They sell very easily. I've been making a lot less currency than I would make just farming like consistently, because there is one downside to doing this, in that it does take quite some time to set things up exactly the way you want to have it set up. You have to buy a lot of different bases, and I will give you the sort of like live search links that I used. I have one right here. I have 3 of them in total. I have one right here to help you find a bow that is this one's set up to find at least a tier 2 hybrid accuracy roll for a relatively cheap price. There are none actually on the within a price range that's respectable. This is for flat fizz or percent fizz high tier rolls, and this is definitely a little easier to come by, more reasonable in the prices. So these are great bases set up with the prefixes set up nicely without the suffixes getting in the way. I also have, actually, I don't need to search those right now. I also have one to find +2 arrows with clean suffixes, which costs invariably at least 1 exalt. And if it's on the base you want, it's going to cost at least 2 or 3 exalts. And to that, I would just say, you're going to want to get a lot of alteration orbs, a lot of annul orbs, a lot of regal orbs, and some imprint beasts set up before you do this project, because it requires a few of those things. I definitely highly suggest alteration spamming. It's a little bit like alteration spamming for Tailwind, except there's like 4 separate good mods that are about as rare as Tailwind that you can hit. So it's kind of fun, you know. It's like doing a slot machine, but instead of trying to hit one specific thing, you're trying to hit one of 4 different things. It's pretty fun to do, but it is extremely time consuming, and I have definitely sacrificed way over just a full day in getting all this set up. I do it for you guys because I want you to be able to craft and upgrade. And another reason I'm doing this is because I knew I was going to come out with my high budget variation of the Soul Thirst build that will feature a bow like mine. I haven't actually showed the one I have. This one I made before I got the resource out, but I mean, this is extremely strong bow. The suffix projectile speed is just sheer lucked into that thing. I mean, it's not exactly the best suffix you can have, but it's obviously very good. This bow right here is not the one I'm going to show you guys, but it's just an example of something I made through recombinating, trial and error, and I did finally land on something that was pretty nice. This is not 700 physical DPS, but the tier 2 cold roll that happened to be on there kind of more than makes up for that slight loss in there. So this right here, this column on the right, is going to be an attempt to recombinate tier 1 or tier 2. I'm kind of saying tier 2 or above. Percent fizz with a flat fizz roll. And by the way, one major thing that I learned, I do need to, actually before we get straight into it, I do kind of have to show you something that I learned that was very important in here. Apparently, the prefixes and suffixes do not talk to each other when you recombinate in any way, shape, or form. You know, usually when there's a rare, you know, there can only be 4 modifiers. If there's 3 suffixes, there can be 1 prefix. If there's 2 prefixes, probably 2 suffixes. It's usually like 3 and 1 or 2 and 2. Sometimes spawn 5, sometimes spawn 6. This doesn't do that at all. Like, so you sometimes end up with like 2 prefixes as a rare, and that's it. Like that's just kind of how it works. You can have them like this, for example, this bow right here. If I didn't have the benchcraft on it, would be 1 prefix, 1 suffix, 1 prefix, 3 suffixes. The fact that there's a bunch of suffixes in there does not affect what the prefixes turn out to be, so it doesn't matter at all. Assuming that if I need to clean it up, I can use a meta mod to do that. In the end. So that's the first major thing that I learned. The next major thing that I learned through this resource was about doubling, both in terms of doubling something you want to keep. So I was already, I mean, intuitively you understand that like if you slam together 2 of the same mods, they're very likely to show up again, much more likely to show up again. But you can kind of like, you know, if I, like for example, if I wanted to get something that we're going to do in this is we're going to try and get 2 specific prefixes and 1 specific suffix. So if one of my bows has 1 prefix and the suffix I want, and the other bow has the 2 prefixes that I want, I actually have much greater chance of getting all 3 of those mods that I have than if I just tried to put 2 prefixes and 1 suffix and just slam it together. That's the point of that. And also doubling as far as mods you don't want can increase the total pool of modifiers that it can bring into the mod, because the number of modifiers that on the final product, it depends on how many mods were brought into the pool. So you can use the bench crafting to sort of kind of like reverse blocking. Instead you're doubling, you're trying to like increase the number of mods that are on the item, but then like you double up the bench crafts, and that you can just remove it, assuming that it gives that modifier. You can just remove it afterwards because it can't, you know, it can't put that mod on there twice, right? So in this case, you see I have mana on here in both items. It can't put mana on the final product twice over. It can only put it on 1 time. So it's increasing the mod pool, but it's also diminished by the fact that it can only receive 1 roll. And then it's compounded good fortune to me because I can easily remove it. I don't have to YOLO annul it off. I can just remove it via benchcraft. So it's extremely valuable information learning how to do that. You can increase your chances from something around 20% all the way up to nearly 50% by using some of these doubling techniques that I'm going to show you. Yeah, so it's surprisingly much more deterministic than I realized. This is going to be the sort of bread and butter of what we're going for here. So in my decision to arrive at the bow I did, the 700 physical DPS plus 2 arrows bow we're going for is going to require us to hit 2 desired prefixes with 1 desired suffix. And it says for doubling, this is exactly the method I'm going to use. I'm going to highlight it right here. 2 prefixes plus 1 prefix and a suffix. Now I can give you a perfect example of what that looks like. That looks like this right here. So this is basically the final recombination of the low tier bow that I'm going to make right here. And this will have a very high chance of success, actually, because what this is a merciless tier % physical damage roll is on both of these items, so it has a very high chance of showing up. And then it has I think essence tier, or no, tier 2 flat fizz roll, and then it has the bows fire additional arrow roll, and then I have lightning resistance benchcraft on there to increase the likelihood that that bow fires additional arrow shows up, because instead of just 1 suffix being thrown into the pool, actually 3 suffixes are being thrown into the pool, but it can only choose 2. So that dramatically increases the amount. Now, how much does that specifically increase? I don't know, because it's not actually included in this information, but based on the sort of rule of thumb that is given to us, we know that it increases it by quite a bit. And again, if you want to read through, you can, for example, I think doubling up things like this right here, what I'm doing right here is I can't remember exactly how much it's increasing it, but I think it's I think the chance of it, like if I just slam these two together right here without the benchcraft, I think it's a 1 in 3. But if I double up the mana roll on there, I think it suddenly goes up to 45% chance. I think that's what that says. I can't remember quite exactly. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, let's go back down to here because this, again, this is the bread and butter. We're going to go for basically this one right here. This is a very high percent chance, and I think I'm raising it up even higher by adding, say, you know, lightning resistance as a bench, as a sort of doubling a mod I don't want. I'm a little surprised to see it not listed here on the sort of final approach here. And the nice thing about this is it's clean. It's going to come out clean, so I can, you know, do sort of like meta mod crafting in the end to get a real good result. So let's get started here. This is going to mark the beginning of the actual recombination process of the bows. We're going to start here. I guess I will go ahead and bring these out. And you can see that I came well prepared today with a few weapon recombinators. This here is what we're trying to hit here is merciless % physical damage combined with flat fizz. Okay, I have bench crafted mana, so there are a grand total of 4 prefixes in play. It can only spawn a total of 3, and the suffixes, I don't give a flying F about what they come out to right now. It has a chance to pick the base I want. You should use the base that is good for you, at least in one of the recombination sides. And you can see that this came out, it only drew out 2 of the 3 prefixes, and one of them is now gone. And that's okay. I lost like half value on there. I did actually switch over to the base I want, so that's nice, but that is not exactly the result I want. That's a sort of half success. So I didn't really lose ground, I didn't really gain ground. It's just kind of static. So I can turn around and use this again. That's the cool thing about recombinating. Even though you're like destroying a lot of items, you're losing ground and stuff, in many cases you still come out with something that's good that you can use in a future case here. So let's go ahead and try these two right here. This is the exact same thing. One of them is the base I want and the other is not. Again, this is either tier 1 or tier 2 on the physical rolls. I say don't mandate tier 1 because it just costs too damn much on the bases to get that. So I picked the wrong base here. You're gonna see I do have the flat fizz, and this time it didn't give me the merciless roll. I lost it. But wow, you know what? That looks exactly like what I need for this. So now I'm just gonna take these two together. This happens all the time. And again, I chose the wrong base, so that's sad. But here we go. This came out really good. Now, look at that. It came out in extra bold. Now it's tier 1. Why is it tier 1 suddenly? Well, apparently it's similar to the way, like, whenever you use a Val Orb on a exceptional gem and you want to like raise your rank 3 enhanced to rank 4, and then it has like a, I don't know, something like a 15% chance to go up to rank 4, or has like a equal chance to go down to rank 2. The same sort of principle is applying here. It looks like, and it honestly feels like it's about the same percent chance, roughly a 10 to 20% chance of either raising or lowering the tier, and I would say an even less chance of just randomly adding a new modifier, probably like a 5 to 10% chance of adding a random new modifier. But right here we have exactly the kind of item we want. The only thing wrong with this is it's the wrong base, but that's okay because we're not at the top end of the pyramid, and so the fact that I'm still kind of building the foundation, I'm much more concerned about what modifiers it comes on than what base it's using, because I'm not working with synthesis bases. I don't care if I lose the base. Really, I can always sort of recombinate it back into the base and continue doubling up. So this is going to stay up here temporarily. And there are many things I could do with this bow. I could try to get triple tier 1 prefixes on it. Obviously, it's something I could try to do. But in this case, you know, I am going for what I'm going for. And we'll mess with that one later. But let's go ahead and do this bow here. Again, same story. We got Merciless. And then Essences roll. Essences is a great way to roll this particular part of the bow. Okay, we got the right base. And boom, we hit... that's actually interesting. I wasn't sure if it could do this, but... even in all my time testing this, I'm surprised. So this is brand new information to me, or I'm basically confirming this. Apparently, it can take your essence roll, which is like a tier 1.5, and actually move it up or down as well. So I really didn't know it could do that. That's super surprising. And look at that. Look at the suffixes, actually. This suffixes came out really interesting. Now, this is kind of an odd case of... I'm not really sure. Honestly, the best thing I could do with this bow is probably just sell it, because this is a case where the smartest thing I could probably do is sell it, because what this is this is a good base with 3 ultra premium affixes on it, and this is not exactly what I'm going for. It's kind of a waste for me to continue working with this and then to sort of erase the suffixes, and also it filled up 3 suffixes, so in order to erase the suffixes I actually have to first harvest, craft, keep prefixes, then metacraft, keep prefixes, keep prefixes, and then scour the item, and then I have exactly the base I want. Again, the most intelligent thing to do with this item would actually be to sell it for a premium price. And what can you sell an item like this for? Well, I'll tell you this much. A spine bow, an item level 86 plus spine bow with flaring on it by itself is worth like at least an exalt. With the same base with Merciless by itself is worth at least an exalt. So these two on together is probably worth at least 4 times that. So I'd say this is probably worth at least 4 exalts. And with the attack speed roll, it probably bumps it up to at least like 6 exalts. So that's a lot of money that you can make. And now that may not sell super fast, but there are definitely some crafters that are going to want to try and do that and sort of recombinate. It also has a decent crit chance roll. I have every reason in the world to try and just sell this. I will probably just try to sell that straight up. Let's move on to the next one here. We had ivory, but oh, I made a mistake and didn't realize it was actually not the base I wanted. It was a lower tier. It was not a spine bow, so I kind of made an error. Check your base to make sure it's actually a spine bow, because this was not. Now this recombinated and into a sort of a dud that is still usable. I can still try and do something with it later, but for now it's not going to work here. Let's try another one. Okay. Oh shucks, missed again. All right, so that again is turning me into a merciless roll. Now here's another one that's interesting. This is a hunter influenced spine bow. Now what happens when I recombinate hunter influenced spine bow? Is something terrible about to happen? No. I mean, basically I want it to select the non-hunter influenced spine bow, but I mean it is actually a spine bow, so I don't really care if it turns into that. It's not a huge deal. But once again, you know, I'm hoping, and it did select the hunter base. It did happen to roll exactly how I wanted it to. So you can see my chances are roughly 50%. I succeeded on 2 out of 6. So yeah, it's, again, I said somewhere between 1 in 3 and 1 in 2 chance of success. Now on one of these it did select the correct base. On this one it's not the right base. It's still a workable base, but it does actually happen to be double tier 1. And this is the one that I'm most likely to continue working with, because I can straight away craft. Prefixes cannot be changed. And then, because those prefixes are terrible, I don't want them at all. And then I scour the item. And this is exactly a base setup. This is now at the high tier of the pyramid, because our pyramid is only like 2 blocks on the bottom and then 1 block on the top. That's it. So this is set up as a prime setup for actually the final step. I'm going to benchcraft lightning resist. That'll be for doubling later. And this one we will try to use, and I will use that one after I have finished combining this side. So this is trying to combine bow attacks, fire, additional arrow. This bow attacks, fire, additional arrow tier 2 has a 1000 rating. It's weighting. It's super easy to hit. Highly recommend you just roll these all yourself. I would buy the merciless rolls, and I would roll the flat fizz with alteration spam, as well as the bow fires additional arrows. Sometimes you can hit bows fire additional 2 arrows, which you can sell on a spine bow for like 3 exalt if you want to, or you can keep it and try to work with it. You can also hit tier 1 or tier 2% hybrid fizz, which is worth a whole lot too, and you can craft with that, or you slam it together. So here our goal is to hit. Now I went ahead and doubled up on the prefix, because actually the merciless roll is far more valuable than bow attacks fire 1 additional arrow. So I'm hoping at the very least I keep the merciless roll. I would like to combine the merciless roll with bow attacks fire additional arrow, and for it to result in a magic bow base, actually. Surprisingly, I want it to be a magic base because I want it to come out clean. So let's see what happens. I got a rare thicket base. Oh, right, because it came out rare because, oh, that's awkward. I hit a weird lightning res roll. Okay. Oh, actually, I have a secret plan on that. That actually works ironically perfectly. Look at it. So see what happens here is this actually ironically doubles up the lightning res roll, and if I recombinate these two together, it's even if it does select the lightning res roll, it's a 50% chance of transforming it into a crafted mod, which means I can remove it without YOLO and null. So that is something I'll look at in the future. Huge a bonus point tip to you right there. We're going to keep those where they are. So this is set up pretty well. I can obviously work with this. It's not perfect because it has that lightning res roll, but it's good. So we'll work with that later. We've got another one. Merciless spine bows, just straight up. Okay, that's not exactly what I wanted, but it's okay. Okay, let's try this one here. Oh. Lost that plus arrow roll again. You notice it keeps selecting the prefix, and it's because I keep doubling up the prefix. There's only one suffix in play here, but there are 3 prefixes in play here, so it's far, far, far more likely to select the prefix than it is to select the suffix and just drop all the prefixes here. I did it again, okay, as tier 1. I think that actually bumped up a tier, as a matter of fact. Alright, let's do another one. No. Having a really hard time giving me that suffix now. Okay, this came out rare. Probably means, yeah. Okay, this came out exactly the way I want to. And unfortunately, it took that you know, that val roll opportunity to drop it down a tier on the merciless down to tyrannical roll. That's not the end of the world. It's still going to turn out to a good bow. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat that too much. So unfortunately, we have the wrong base, however, so I can't really combine this. But no, I can actually go ahead and settle for a hunter spine bow. It's not the end of the world. I can go ahead and do this, and I will actually go ahead and do this. So this is sort of the top of the tier of the pyramid. Now, normally I wouldn't have a hunter influenced bow, but it's not going to make much of a difference in the end. Because the this is a sort of low to mid tier budget range, so you don't have to worry about it being influenced randomly. It's not going to matter. Yeah, so this is set up nicely. I do need to change the bench crafts over. I think the smartest thing to do here, actually the smartest thing to do is to bench craft mana, because again, the bow fires additional arrows, has a 1,000 weighting. It is so much higher than these percentages. So the smartest thing to do is try to guarantee that it turns out that all the prefixes come into play. So this has 2 prefixes I want. There's a grand total of 5 prefix rolls being slammed into this. 3 of them, 2 of them are doubled up. One of them is, or sorry, the 2 bench crafts that are doubled up. The 2 merciless and tyrannical are doubled up, and then a flat roll is by itself. And there's a very high chance, actually, that at least I will keep both of the physical rolls. So let's see if that happens. Spine bow, I hit the right base. This could be it. Could be it. Oh, boom, got it. Oh, yeah. By the way, the presumption is that bow attacks fire additional arrow does have a chance to bump up to 2 arrows. So that is another reason why you might want to do this approach. So here it is. Boom, we hit it. This is done. I mean, well, it's not done. I still got to do some stuff to it. But this, again, it's a little bit unfortunate that I hit tyrannical instead. But this is superb. Now, you could see that out of six attempts, so out of a total of 12 recombinations, I think. Actually 13 including it. Out of 12 recombinations, we only ultimately succeeded on 1, but look at this. I'm left over with a lot of premium bases that I can continue to work with. I mean, most of these are set up, and you know, actually this is still like premium right here, super premium. And again, I'm just going to sell that, I think. And then look at these. I have all these tier 1, again, tempered spine bow, flaring spine. This is worth at least 1 exalt, this bow right here. This is worth at least 1 exalt, this bow here. So after you're done successfully, hopefully successfully crafting, you can continue working with it and doing stuff, or you can just sell these bases. Trust me, people are going to buy these bases. I was buying these bases for like half exalt, full exalt. I paid up to 2 exalts for some bases, actually. And I would message somebody, be like, sorry, it was sold already, and I would miss the sale. You know, somebody would put up a base for a premium price, and that's just how active this market is. So super stoked to see that. How would we finish this? That's the question. How would we finish this? Well, actually, ironically, the way I wanted to finish this was to do a warlord slam into the suffix. But I can't do that because it is hunter influence. So yeah, I actually have to think about that for a second. Now, the sad thing about this is you can't benchcraft a suffix on. Oh yeah. So here was my plan. I'm going to tell you what my plan was for this bow. Assuming that this bow does not have an influence, I would slam a warlord orb into it. Now the warlord orb into the suffix is a good option here. Let me show you what they look like. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but some of the influence orbs have some pretty good slam opportunities here. We have warlord suffix here on, oh, that's rings. Sorry, I need to go back. Go to bows. Here we go. Get bows. So if you want to influence slam one of these bows for whatever reason, your best opportunities, in my opinion, are either Crusader for the prefix side for the possible percent Phys and projectile speed hybrid roll with other rolls that are not, at least not terrible, or Warlord Slam with suffix is far more exciting because every single one of these rolls is usable. The worst one on here is chance to gain phasing for 4 seconds on kill. And you have a sort of, this technically falls under the hybrid, I think, roll. So it can go on there. You can hit a slightly more percent Phys increase physical damage, maim on hit, slows enemies by 30%. Okay, that's cool. But there's a couple jackpot rolls on here that have a lower weighting. That's Culling Strike or Skills Fire Additional Arrow, which includes Bows Fire Additional Arrow, actually. So this is what I would, now I can't do that because this is influence. So this is an edge case where I went ahead and followed through with a base that was not exactly perfect. Obviously I could try to recombinate this into something even greater, potentially, but no, that wouldn't be the smart thing to do. So at the very least, you could put attack speed on it, you know. But it has 3 open spots, so let's see what possible. See, the problem is there are no really good prefix slots. So what I might do with this is I might actually close the suffixes first, and then put cannot roll caster modifiers and get +1 socketed gems into the prefix side as the last prefix, because you can see there's just not very many. I mean, what is this? Is 32% physical? No, actually. Yeah, it's not a terrible idea. +2 level to socket support gems is not actually very good for this bow. It's okay, I guess. Yeah, you could do that. Weapon penetrate elemental resistances? Sure, I mean, if you don't have omniscience already, but you presumably would have omniscience if you're going for an upgrade here. Well, I'm not going to waste too much time on it anymore. I think... yeah. That's not exactly the bow we're going for, but anyway, what is this worth? Let's see what this is worth. So this is a spine bow with +1 additional arrows. I can't actually see what. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll go ahead and do this for the sake of making the video nice and short. So in this case, I'm just going to randomly exalt slam this and see what happens. Increase stun duration on enemies. Okay, that's an absolute terrible result. But the next thing I'm going to do... Cannot roll caster modifiers. Oh, actually that was wrong. No. Whoops. Cannot roll attack modifiers. And you can see I'm using 1 exalt benchcrafts here, so that's fine. I would be Leo slamming this, not exactly well, or sorry, I actually can't do that because it's an influencer. So I would be Beast exalt slamming this instead of Raw exalt slamming this normally. Oh, right. Right. I forgot. It has another prefix that it can roll. Oh, well. Totally forgot. It could roll another prefix because it's Hunter influence. Yeah, a non-influenced bow can't roll anything other than +1 Socratic gem. So, yeah. You learn and live, I guess. Okay. There. Anyway, this is not a terrible bow. Big it rolls. Oh my god. Well, absolute bottom tier. There we go. That's better. A little better. Let's do the calculation. How much DPS is this? I went ahead and did this because I'm curious how much DPS is. Now, this is not Hillock 30%, but this is basically the end result of a potential, you know, one of these bows that you might do. Again, what I would have actually done is when I still had that mana bench half, I would have Crusader Orb slammed it, then put attack rolls, or actually I can't do that because you can't close the prefix. Well, anyway, you'll figure it out. I didn't put a huge amount of thought into the low tier one. The point is, get Merciless, Flat Fizz, and then bow attacks, fire additional arrow, and you've already got, and then just benchcraft attack speed, and even without a prefix and another suffix, you still got a great bow. Yeah, so let's see here. We got 217 plus 561. Okay, then divided by 2 for the average damage, then times 1.58. This is how much physical DPS. So this is a 614 physical DPS bow with 1 additional arrow. What's that worth? What is that? What is a 600 DPS physical bow with 1 additional arrow worth? What's one with 12 exalts? I'm not sure if this one is a price check or whatever, but the more regular one sales look like 30x maybe. But there is one up here for only 12x, and I invested approximately 12x in this bow, I think, if I didn't just YOLO slam a bunch of stuff into it. Maybe less than 12x, but anyway, there you go. You get an idea how that goes. So I'm going to put that in here. I don't know. I'll just try to sell it for... I'll start it at 30x and then move down. I don't think this is worth 30x, especially with wonky chaos rolls or whatever, but who knows? Maybe somebody will mess with it. I'll lower it down. It will probably sell at least for 10x. Alright, so let's get into the more interesting craft on here, and that is going to be the more higher tier craft, and this is the one I've actually prepared for a lot. How to craft a 700 plus physical DPS bow with +2 arrows using Recombinators. First thing you're going to do is you're going to check trade to verify the cost differential of items sitting at steps 1, 2, 5, and 9. Oh my god, it's a lot. So 1, that's basically all 4 of these bases. So that is a high tier physical hybrid base that is a clean prefix side, a high tier flat fizz base with any suffixes whatsoever, a +2 additional arrows, rare with the opportunity to benchcraft another suffix on it, which is, I mean, this is the hardest one to get right here. Believe you me, this is the hardest one. And then a flat fizz high tier roll clean with no additional prefixes or suffixes aside from a benchcraft on there. So these are the 4 bases that we need to start with here. This is actually very similar to the one I just crafted. And now also, because some of these are high value, I went ahead and used a bunch of imprint beasts to connect these, and I'm still not 100% sure whether you can bring back a bow post recombination. I know for a fact you can't do it if it picks the wrong base, but if it selects the right base and then ruins the item completely, hypothetically you should be able to bring it back with an imprint. So we're going to find out. I mean, I have a lot of imprints here. Most of these imprints are spine bows of the many. So, because they're, again, this is at least a 2x bow. Spine bow of the many. The fact that it's also rare gives you even more flexibility with the benchcraft and makes it worth at least 3 exalts, in my mind. So let's get started here. We have here a Dictator's Tier 1% Phys hybrid with accuracy. With random suffixes and a benched prefix. And then we have the same thing over here with flat Phys. This is a very premium setup. Here is the imprint. These are actually both spine bows. I definitely have more actual spine bows involved in this, so that will help increase my odds that the base is good. Let's try and see what the Recombinator comes out to. Cross your fingers. These ones actually do matter to me a little bit more. So again, there are 4 modifiers in play. The flat Phys, the hybrid Phys, and then doubling the benchcraft mana. Obviously, it's going to roll spine bow. It has Dictator, and it actually dropped a lot of prefixes. It dropped the flat. I would prefer that it kept the hybrid Phys, so that's good. That's fine. So the outcome is not terrible. It's not what we wanted, but and actually, again, I don't know if this imprint actually qualifies to this, but again, this is clean prefixes and random suffixes, so it's fine. I can still use it a little bit later. Next one, we got the identical thing going on right here. Boom, spine bow. Dictator. Oh no! Did it again, but it actually did roll the mana roll. Okay, so no bueno there. Again, a decent result. Fortunately, the fact that it's keeping the Tier 1 hybrid Phys and I'm losing the flat Phys. Take a look at this. The hybrid Phys Tier 1 is 25. Wait, that's like a quarter of what. This is 4 times harder to hit than Tailwind. And then check out the flat Phys. It's a weighting of 200. That's twice as easy to hit as Tailwind. So, and Tier 2 is still pretty good at like weighting 400. So flat Phys is not nearly as important as Tier 1 hybrid Phys. Way more important that I keep that. So not all bad. I'm definitely not upset with that result at all. That one stings. So it looks like that drew down my my flat Phys 1 tier, and then also dropped the hybrid Phys. And I did have. Oh, so here we go. I think this is an opportunity. Yeah, this is an opportunity to see. So theoretically, this should be the same bow, but it does not match the imprint. Spine bow should be the same bow because there was only just so I guess that means it cannot bring back the item, because this should be the original base. It says Dictator's spine bow the Falcon here, so it was the spine bow side. Maybe it can't bring it back. I'll try again a little bit later. I guess that's done here. There's nothing left to do with that one. Well, getting some unfortunate results here. I think, I have at least 1 in 3 chance of hitting what I want here. So let's see if we get one here. Got the right base. Essence, boom. Okay, we're in business here. Now, this did result in a lower. Actually, it might have started off at the Tier 2 level. I'm not sure. It must have, because it didn't highlight in bold there. So this is good. This is good. It did force down all the suffixes, unfortunately. But at least something that I can definitely work with. There, that's a good result. What you saw right there. So again, just to recap, because I mentioned this earlier. So this closed all my suffixes. So what I have to do to harvest, craft, reforge, keep prefixes. Then I have to bench, metamod, craft, prefixes cannot be changed, and scour the item to make it clean on the prefix side. And then it will be ready for the final step. Okay. Got myself a Crusader influenced Highborn bow of the something something. Alright, well. I'll save this one here. This is good. Not the best outcomes, but not the worst. Alright, this is... Oh, wrong base. Man. Keep missing on these. Alright. Okay, well, you know, I did good keeping the hybrid Phys rolls. Got quite lucky there with all those. We have one here that it can slam into the other. I guess, yeah, this one makes the most sense, I think, to try and slam these two together here. So again, you know, when you're not having success, not all is lost. Quite often you kind of don't lose much ground. We try here. You can see my prefixes are still cleaned. I still got the mana rolls, and so this has a decent chance as ever to come out with what I want. And it looks like it raised the tier. It actually changed a lot of stuff there. But once again, wow, I'm left with almost the original. Almost the original number of hybrid Phys rolls there. That's kind of awkward. So that is not exactly what I wanted to. I definitely got a little bit unlucky there. I'm lucky that I kept so many % hybrid Phys rolls, but I'm unlucky that I only had one success of doubling up. Let's see if I have a few more. I have some more backups here. I think... yeah, let's see. I have a few more backups I can use. I can definitely use this one. Let's see if I have anything else. Got a lot of merciless ones here, don't I? That's a pretty nice one there, isn't it? Okay. Oh yeah, this is set up for like a YOLO at the end. That'll be fun. Yeah, this is the one to try and slam in here. We're gonna try and take one last shot at this, I think. Otherwise, I'm only gonna have one. Cross your fingers. Boom! Got him. Got him. All right, that's good. Tier 2 flat Phys, that's okay. That can still hit 700 DPS, by the way. So I do have, and this is extra good because actually I don't have to harvest reforge. Dude, that's stupid crap. So yeah, let's see. We got prefixes cannot be changed, and boop.
Greeting.
We're going to benchcraft for doubling. Oh, a little later. Okay. That is set up, ready to go for the premium trial. So I basically just did all of steps up to like step 5 there. So again, I'm not going to read through all this. This video is, God, I don't know how long this video is. It's already 48 minutes long. I'm definitely not going to read through all this here. This is for your reference. You can keep that. But I just did steps 1 through 4. I just did steps 1 through 5 on one of the bows, and I just did steps 1 through 4 on the other one. I still have to clean it up with harvest. I'm not going to do that right now. I may do that in this video if I don't successfully recombinate here later. But anyway, we are moving into what would be step 6. So this involves getting the +2 arrows base as well as the flat Phys base. And again, we are working with, I guess, I'm going to do it again. We are working with... Oh yeah, this is an interesting case here. So again, a little bit of an edge case. So I have a suffix that I don't actually want on here, but there's a decent chance that I can sort of rip it off with the Benchcraft, taking priority over the regular one. Let's see if that happens here. So again, this is 4 modifiers in play, 3 suffixes, and 1 prefix. Let's see what happens. That's literally absolute utter garbage. Now, I'm glad that actually happened, so we could see, we could witness literal garbage happening. So that erased the physical roll, and it erased the +2 bows. It only kept the critical in the Benchcraft case, I guess that's something. But now, this is a... sorry, item level... 88 bow, and it doesn't work on the imprint. You know why it doesn't work on the imprint? I bet I know why. It's because the item level changes. The bow actually changes because the item level changes. So in that case, I don't think imprints are going to work. Now, imprints are still worth doing because you still have to make sure you can get the bow set up right. Like, I can't just magically make this bow rare with only bow attacks to additional arrows. So that is hard to come by. But yeah, here is a sort of case where literal worst case scenario, and it's utter trash now, and it's just going to go in the pile of bases to be, you know, I'm just going to be doing this until I hit a high value modifier. Now, I did not actually set up a Boolean string or whatever down there. I just rolled it, hit, boom. Okay, so this is something I can use, right? Again, common roll, and this would be usable for the low tier bow, right? So boom, I hit something right there that quick. And when there's so many different possibilities that are valuable, actually you do hit things pretty quick. So let's hope that sort of outcome doesn't happen again. Oh, I'm stuck with the exact same thing again. Well, that's some bad premonition. Well, let's see what happens. Clean base, so that's good. I got flaring of 2 additional bows, but I kept the crit strike chain. Now, I went ahead and kept the crit strike roll because I know that even if I happen to take the critical strike chance roll of tier 3 or higher all the way to the end, that's still a good suffix. So I can have an extra suffix on here. That's fine because it's a decent suffix on the end product. So that's fine. So this is a good result. Right here, we have our potential. I'm going to try to get another one clean here. The ones I'm doing right now are actually the most expensive bases, so I'm really, really hoping for success on these. I did usually keep the actual tier 1 stuff. Boom! Flaring spine bow of the many. That is what we want to see. Now, the cool thing about that is I am absolutely going to imprint that, and then... yeah, and then try to... Actually, I may not... The little thing that's awkward about this, when it comes out like this, is what should you do next? Should you imprint it and then try to, like, wriggle off, just for doubling purposes, try to wriggle out the other thing? Yeah, it's hard to say, but anyway, this is like the one sort of conundrum. I'm not sure what to do, because the choices are either you just go ahead and straight up try to recombinate without the additional doubling, which I think is actually not a bad idea. It's probably the best thing, because split beasts do cost half an exalt a piece almost, or at least a third of an exalt, and yeah, it could be really expensive. We'll just keep that to the side right now. Obviously super happy with that result. Yeah, apparently this doesn't work, so
Hello.
I guess I can get a few regret orbs back. I regret it. Not really. Alright, so let's continue on with another flaring bow of the many, please. Okay, rare is even better because that probably means yes. Okay, so this is literal best case scenario. This is best case scenario. Aside from it, you know, just randomly putting on an extra tier 1 affix that I would want. This is exactly what I wanted to see. And that is... okay.
I'm not up to that just yet.
Boom. These two bows right here are ready for the final process. This is ready for the final recombination, and it has a very high chance of keeping +2 arrows. It's a decent chance. It's a very decent chance of ultimately ending up in a 700 DPS physical bow. We're gonna see in a minute here if that ends up. I got a couple more of these to combinate over. Another rare one. That's a good sign. Boom. Oh yes, another perfect result. Happy to see that. Finally, the RNG is swinging back in my favor a fair bit. This has actually been pretty good overall because these are the ones that count the most, and you really don't want to see bad outcomes here. Another rare spine bow. Oh, of the many. Okay, so that didn't... Okay. That just erased the flat fizz. That's fine. Like, that's totally fine. If we erase the flat fizz roll, I don't really care. So that is still good. This is like a 3x base still, or at least 2 exalts still. And we are ready for the final recombination attempt. Now I can do this at least once more real quickly if I have to go to TFT and get a harvest reforged, but we're going to try to get this done in one try. As you can see, because we're piecemealing this and building up a pyramid, if we once again we take a look at this, doubling the prefixes, 2 prefixes plus 1 prefix and 1 suffix gives you a 46.5% chance of success. And I believe on top of that, doubling a benchcraft you don't want increases that probably upwards to a whole 50%. I'm basically at a 50% chance of success. This is the one that matters the most. Let's see what we get. Rare spine bow. Just missed. Just missed. Okay. Okay, so it switched over to the dictator. So again, this is not a horrible result. This is still something I can very well work with. This is still great because I can now get, once again, I just take this, actually I'll probably try to sell that one. Well, it's basically no different than this right here. Or actually, in that case, yeah, I can just recombinate that straight up. I don't see why I can't. Yeah, so here we can do something different here. So now I have, so in this case, I have bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows twice, so it's extremely likely to show up. May not be the smartest decision to do, but for the sake of making the video, I think... What the hell? Oh. If we go ahead and we're going to double up the mana roll on this side because we're already sitting pretty on the bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows, and so we kind of need to double up the prefix side to give us a good chance. Now, again, I think the most intelligent thing to do at this case would be to try and rejig yourself to sort of original setups to not actually blow bow attacks fire 2, because I'm obviously going to lose at least 1 bow with bow attacks fire 2 additional arrows, so that's kind of dumb. But for the sake of trying to get this bow done quickly as I can, I am going to go ahead and try and recombinate that in. It did not succeed once again, so getting close, very close, but no cigar there. I think I will go ahead and purchase that. Why do I not have this here? Well, you get to see this in real time. You know, if you people put your in-game name, I would be willing to pay more. So that's this bow right here. We want to keep prefixes. And I gotta pay 1x for it. Apparently this craft is actually worth less than 1 exalt. So it's not even that big of a deal. Okay, in case you're not familiar with TFT, this is kind of how it works. Sometimes you pay at the same time, sometimes later. I guess apparently maybe they'll get in trouble by paying at the same time. I don't know. Okay, you confirm it. That's how they do it. It's supposed to link the item to you. And then, you know, you confirm it, and then they're probably going to link it again. It's very, very, very likely to end up with not 3 suffixes filled. Wow, I did actually fill 2 of them. But at any rate, it is a success. It did accomplish what I wanted. And I send that through, and now he's been vouched. Okay, so that's it. That's how you do that. Alright, so we have one more solid attempt at this. Prefixes cannot be changed. That's too bad. I got tier 1 projectile speed on there, huh? Oh well. And I have a feeling that the game is going to finally get me what I want after this little bout. Oh, right. I still have that, too. Ah, this is smarter. It's right here. Again, going for the gold here.
Not up to that just yet.
Okay, I have a decent chance of ending up with tier 1, double tier 1. Decent chance of it. Or at least essence in tier 1. We'll see what happens. Again, this is at least a 50% chance. Or at least a 46% chance of success. Obviously, it's going to select the correct base. Oh, I think... Oh, we did it. Boom! Boom! What? Okay, we did it. And it slammed me up to tier 1. It did bump up the tier 1. It got the essence roll. Essence is tier 1.5. This is an excellent bow. This right here, what I just accomplished right here, is worth at least 50 exalts, bare minimum. Probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 or 80 exalts. By the time I'm done with it, I will show you here in real time what this looks like to finish it. So this is already clean. It had a very high chance of coming out clean. And what we're going to do is we're going to do modifiers. Can have up to 3 modifiers, because there are a few different things you could do with this. But again, we're trying to be intelligent. What's the best way we can close this out? We're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. And we need a hillock. Hillock weapon. There is none. Oh, actually this might still be up. So yeah, I mean, this bow does depend on the high tier roll. Obviously, you want to 6-link it, and that's good for that, but also for the sheer DPS. I will go ahead and try and roll this while I'm at it here. Let's see what the roll is like. Let's see, I do want a high tier roll. Now, the smartest thing would be to do this on TFT, but I think in this case, so 42 to 75 on that. Okay. Close. I got a lot of divine orbs, so I don't really care. Almost. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is pretty high. So it could be a little higher, but you can see the rolls are very good here. Those are really good. The attack speed. So this is done. This is done. I just need the hillock weapon to 30 percentile. I need hillock. I wonder what it is even without hillock. It's exciting. Now, normally, I probably wouldn't go for the person who doesn't have a lot of vouchers, but personally, I've never been scammed on TFT, so I'm not even worried about it. But that was a while ago, so it's already sold. Well, unfortunately, we're just kind of in this waiting phase, so no fret. We can at the very least kind of see what this came out to with just 20%. 30% will probably raise the DPS by a little bit. But we have right here in our possession a 254 to 601 divided by 2 times 1.58, and it is... Oh, I guess I do need that 30% rule. I may need to divine orb the I will probably divine orb the suffixes so I get nearly perfect on the suffixes. I can get a full 10% more increased attack speed. You can pretty well clearly see that between getting that suffix roll up a little higher and the quality up to 30%, this will absolutely pass the threshold of 700. I went ahead and calculated some of these. A double tier 1 has a potential of going up nearly to 750 DPS. This is almost there. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that prefix roll for sure. Oh, well, actually, the prefix roll is in part... Yeah, the prefix roll is in part a problem. I forgot the Benchcraft is part of the prefix roll. I'll probably just keep it where it is. I think the extra hillock, it will probably be ample to get it close. But yeah, you can do the math yourself. You can see if that would have been 700 DPS. I'm pretty certain that it would have. I'm not going to extend this video any longer to hit that, but this is the bow. For the thumbnail, I will show the final product. It'll be in the thumbnail. Let's see that one, and... Oh yeah, I forgot. I do actually have these to throw together. Well then. Oh yeah, put this in a safe place. We don't want to accidentally do anything to that. Ranger bow. Oh, you bastard. Dropped down my physical roll and gave me the wrong base. What can you do? It's still a good item. There's a lot I can do with this. And there's a lot I will do with that. So that is basically all for today. I got, you know, all these different bases. I have so many different things I can do with them still, if I want to. Pretty cool. Oh yeah, there's this one too. Yeah, that's right. Well, I forgot about that. Yeah, I was going to sell that one, wasn't I? Oh, that's right. I still have this here. Well.
I'm not up to that just yet.
I totally forgot I had this. Prefix cannot be changed. Whoop. And a scour orb, right? Oh, it's the wrong base, so it doesn't. Yeah, I'm not going to combine the wrong base into it. Do I have any more that are the right base? No? No? YOLO. I'm doing stupid shit right now just to see if I can complete one of these without the weird hunter influence. Boom. I do not recommend this at home. Success! The right base. That was that one I just did was not recommended. But I did want to complete this base so I can actually show you guys instead of that goofy hunter base what this would actually look like. So yeah, the problem is you can't hunter. So let's see the possibilities here. So there's a few things to take into consideration. So this has an open hybrid role on it. It has an open hybrid role. So look at these Crusader rolls that you can use on the Crusader prefix. Okay, flat lightning, percent penetration, more lightning penetration, or a random flight hybrid roll. I would much prefer to slam this with a Warlord suffix because it just has so many good options for that. The problem is I need to metamod it, so that's fine. It costs a little extra, whatever. I'm just going to do that. So it's going to do modify. So this is how we close this this particular one. So yeah, you do have to pay the 2x for this, and you do have to cannot roll attack modifiers. Now the reason I'm doing this is because this what I'm doing right here is a surefire way of that's right, of ending, of getting, wow, I'm down to 1 exalted orb, of getting a decent prefix. So watch what happens. Watch the prefix that comes in here, +1 to socket a gem. That is, by all accounts, a decent prefix. It's not the best thing, but it's about a quarter of the value of a hybrid Phys roll. So it's still decent. It's guaranteed to be decent. Think about it. You're increasing all of your support, damage support gems, like elemental damage with hits, attack support. You're increasing that by like 0.5% more damage for like 3 separate gems. Plus you're increasing your anomalous tornado shot by a little bit. It doesn't make a huge difference, but it is something. So it is something to be reckoned with there. Let's see what we get up here. So I'm going to show the very exciting Warlord Slam. Actually, I'm not sure if I have one of the crap. I forgot to buy a Warlord orb before. So I gotta do that now. First whisper. Who said trade is broken? It's working for me. One whisper, make the trade. Must be a bot. Must be a bot, right? And again, I've never seen anybody talk about this as a way to finish a bow, but this is a low tier bow. This is highly deterministic. It was very safe. Every single one of these rolls is fairly cheap. You can roll the flat Phys easily. The Merciless roll is the only one that's expensive, but it happens to be one of the cheaper ones you can buy. They generally cost like 20 to 30 chaos a piece. A random bow with a Merciless tier roll. And if that's too much outside your budget, just settle for the Takati tier 2 what was it, tyrannical roll, or of the Takati or something. So it's fine. It's not a big deal. Now, I don't think there's a way to block anything on here, but let's see what the options are for this. So I might hit a little bit more percent physical damage, which should actually be low-key kind of huge to get any more physical damage on this for how little we paid for it. Very likely to hit phasing. Now, phasing on kill, even at tier 3, is a really high percentage chance. That's pretty good for a Deadeye. I mean, we're kind of lacking phasing. I'm having to rely on a quartz flask. I'd rather not have to rely on that. And I was running a bow with phasing on it because I, YOLO trying to slam for Culling Strike or skill attack fire additional arrow. Worst case scenario is you hit phasing on kill. That's still really good. Like, it's still not even bad. So obviously we're gonna benchcraft attack speed. Oh, forgot I gotta remove first. Haha. Okay. Attack speed with my very last exalted orb. And boom. Oh, Oh. Okay, this is good. It hit the tier 1 percent physical on the suffix. So it's like unheard of to have a percent physical roll on a suffix, but apparently the Warlord does come with an option. Maim on hit is not terrible. It slows all enemies by 30%. So look, this is exactly the kind of bow I wanted. Now again, that Warlord hit could have ended up being exceptional with Culling Strike or a second additional arrow, but this is still a wonderful outcome. And I sold, just so you guys are aware, I had a bow almost exactly like this, except it had phasing on it instead of this roll, and it sold for like 12x. In fact, it was worse than this because it wasn't tier 1 flaring flat fizz. It was actually I think it was essence roll instead of that, so it's a little bit worse, but it was identical otherwise. So let's see what this comes out to. I'm actually a little curious what kind of roll this comes out to. Let me see what the rolls are here. Yeah, so 47 to 84. Okay. Kind of just looking at the 46 to 81. Close. So bad. Ah. What the hell? I can't hit anything good. Doesn't matter how many I throw at it, I guess. Anyway, let's see what this comes out to. So this is not rolled optimally, but it's decent. It's fairly I mean, actually, it's not really that good. No, you know what? That's actually still pretty bad. That was a little bit better, but I can't seem to get the flat fizz to roll worth a damn. Okay, that's actually not terrible. Okay, let's see here. This is 247 plus 623 divided by 2 times 1.58. So significantly less budget, actually ended up at higher DPS than the other one, but it only has bow attacks fired 1 additional higher. Now the reason it ends up at higher DPS is because it's got more, it actually has more percent increased physical damage than the other ones, I guess, slightly here. So these are the final products of these two bows. These are exactly the bows I was kind of aiming for, both of these right here. Beautiful to behold. Take it in, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I very much enjoyed making it, but it has been a long video, I know. For all those who were entertained by all the slams, I have one last sort of hurrah, I guess. A few more things to slam just for fun. I did set up a few extra little things here on the end. I can't even remember what they're for. Let's see what we're working with here. So we got... oh, this is kind of like the low tier one, but I ended up having a super high cold roll on it randomly too. Yeah, I don't really know what that is, so that's not really anything super special. That's fine. Let's see what this one is. This is oh yeah, trying to combine physical with attack speed. I don't know exactly why you'd want to do this, but could be something. Nah, that's not really anything that great here. This one is trying to combine... oh, right. This one's actually interesting. So on this one, I'm actually trying to combine triple tier 1 or tier 2 prefixes. So let's see if this one comes out to anything special. No, obviously that didn't hit what I wanted it to hit at all. So that's like really actually kind of bad. And this is an interesting situation where you end up with a corrupted item, but you're trying to pull it over to the right base, and it so happened to sort of double on the physical side, so I have a decent chance of getting a tempered bow of the many out of this, or polished bow of the many, unfortunately. But hey, I kept +2 arrows, so that's the important thing, right? And then this one here is what? Trying to double attack speed with... Oh yeah, this one is a situation where if you were trying to put tier 1 attack speed with +2 arrows and trying to start things off that way, you could do that with something like this. And it missed the attack speed, but it kept the +2 arrows, so that's definitely the better of the two results. And yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with all this. I'm going to play around with this. I might actually just sell all of these bases at a premium price, no doubt. But really happy I did end up with 2 bows, exactly what I mentioned. So that's a couple examples there. Just so you're aware, I started off with a grand total of 24 bows of each side to do this. So it took me, yeah, it's probably going to take you on average about 24 bow bases to do this. And that is a little time consuming to get set up. But again, the average cost really did kind of pull through about pretty accurately, I'd say, if I'm not mistaken myself. And those average costs do not factor in the obvious result of having some super premium bases left over that you can either sell to recoup some of the losses, or you can continue to craft something even better, or just craft a second bow that you're trying to get and then sell it. Not a bad idea. So I definitely think there's some opportunity to craft for profit in there, and I think there's an opportunity to craft an upgrade for a reasonable price. The only real downside to this, in my opinion, is the excessive amount of time it will take you to accumulate the bases. It's not that hard to buy the bases, but to also get them rolled up properly, it involves a lot of like alteration spamming, regal, then annul, and then benchcraft, and then set up. It does take a little bit of time. So the extreme detailed step-by-step process is listed for the higher tier bow, the one that is shown right here, the higher of the two. And then the other one, I did not write up something on it, but you kind of got to see me do it in real time, so that's a good possibility too. So I'll catch you guys later. My voice is dead now, and I have another video coming out here probably tomorrow, because tomorrow is my day off. I've been so busy with work, 6 days in a row. Finally get a day off tomorrow, and it will be featuring the Crimson Temple with semi-juicing. Same thing I did on Cemetery. Almost got everything set up. Just got to put in the few remaining scarabs. And that's it. Definitely need to stockpile a few more Exalted Orbs. I'll have to liquidate some things. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you around. Hope you're able to learn something.